Lori here. I'm back to start another reading vlog. It is June 26th, which means my school year for virtual learning is officially over. I am so relieved in one hand, but also so sad that we didn't get to end the year the way that we normally do because it's a little bit sad. But I am happy that it's over and I have a couple of months to just kind of decompress from everything because it was a really crazy couple of months. I'm a school teacher, so we really we were still working even though we were in quarantine. So it was a lot of work, and I teach a lot of kids. I'm a theater teacher, so it's nice to kind of decompress for a little bit. We're still really unsure about the fall, but I'm really going to take the next couple of weeks and just kind of like relax and not think about school. And that's sometimes a little bit hard for teachers, but I'm really going to try my hardest to do that because I kind of need a mental break. But it is the last week. Well, we have about 4 or 5 days left of June, and it's Pride Month. And last week I focused on doing a bunch of LGBTQ reads, and I wound up really enjoying most of them. So I kind of pulled the rest of some of the LGBTQ books on my TBR, and I'm gonna try to tackle these. I'm definitely not gonna read them all, but these are the books that I'm kind of pulling from. So the books that I'm currently reading is Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This is a book I actually just bought. It will be featured in an upcoming book haul, but it is the sequel to Prince Charming or Royal. The Royal is by Rachel Hawkins, and I'm actually really liking it. I'm going to talk a little bit after I explain all the books, but really liking this so far. I'm only 50 pages in, but it's a very, very fast-paced read, and it's exactly what I'm looking for. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm here today to start another reading vlog. It is June 26th. It is a Friday, and it is officially the last day of school, so I just finished my last school obligation for about 2 months. It has been a crazy, crazy year with all of the quarantine stuff that we had to go through, so it feels nice to have a little bit of a break and kind of to breathe a little bit. It was not an easy year, I'll say that, but it was an interesting year, and I think I learned a lot about myself, and my students hopefully learned a lot. But it's always a little bit disappointing when you don't physically get to say goodbye to your students. But I'm kind of forcing myself to kind of take a little bit of a step back and just kind of enjoy my time off before I kind of dive into next year, because there's a lot of stuff we just don't know yet, and I kind of need a mental break. So I'm really going to focus the next couple of weeks on just reading and relaxing and trying to enjoy my summer break. We are slowly starting to come out of quarantine life here, but we're still very much in a quarantine lifestyle. With numbers spiking across the country, I'm trying to be extra cautious. But in New York and Long Island, we are doing okay for the moment. But my last reading vlog, I focused on a lot of LGBTQ reads. And I'm gonna kind of keep that going because I only have about 4 or 5 days left in this month. I think on Tuesday is the end of June, so I want to kind of focus on that. And I kind of pulled a bunch of books from my TBR that all are LGBTQ themed, and that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on for the next couple of days. I definitely won't read all of these books, but these are just kind of the ones that I'm going to be pulling from. So the book I'm actually in the middle of reading, I just started today, was Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This is the sequel to Prince Charming, and I'll talk a little bit about this when I'm done explaining all the books, because this is the one that I'm actually in the middle of reading, and I'm about 50 pages in. The next book that I might wind up reading is Rise by Ellen Goodett. This is the sequel to Rule, and if I remember correctly, there is an LGBTQ relationship in this book. It's in this series. I read it quite a bit ago. But I really like the magic system in it, and I remember it was like a very, very fast-paced read, and it was pitched as like Three Dark Crowns and Pretty Little Liars, and it actually is a duology, so I could wrap up this series as well. Another book that was high on my TBR was Most Likely by Sarah Watson. This is from the creator of The Bold Type, and this is from the creator of The Bold Type, an empowering, heartfelt novel about a future female president in her senior year in high school. And there is definitely some diversity in this read as well. And I love The Bold Type so, so much. And I really hope that I wound up liking this book. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue last week, which had a lot of political elements. This book has a lot of political elements as well. So hopefully I like this one equally as much. This is the book that I have heard so many mixed things about, but Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli is also high on my TBR. I have heard a lot of mixed things about this book recently. I'm going to be a little bit honest. but I do still want to give it a solid try because I did like her other books, and I especially love well, Simon versus the Homo sapien Agenda. So I'm gonna give this book a shot. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but I really hope that I wind up liking it. Another book that is high on my TBR is Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert. This is another convention-themed novel about these mortal enemies are stuck together on a cross-country road trip to the biggest fan convention of their lives. And I honestly adore books about conventions. And since all my conventions have gotten canceled, this one might just be like the trip that I need. And it does feature an LGBTQ relationship. Also, Midnight Lie features a it's pitched as like an LGBTQ romantic fantasy. This is a spinoff from the Winners trilogy, but I was told that I didn't need to read the Winners trilogy to read this, so hopefully that's true, but I have heard very good things about it. And I also have Black Wings Beating by Alex London, which is another one, and this I'm pretty sure is an LGBTQ romance, but I could be wrong. But it has to do with like falconry and hawks and stuff, so I really hope that I like this because I do have this sequel. And the last one that I really hope to read is The Extraordinaries by T.J. Kuhn. This is the one that I just got, and it is, I think it's like a superhero themed novel, but it is LGBTQ as well. So I am in the middle of reading Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. I'm about 50 pages in. This follows a girl named Millie. She is devastated when she learns her potential girlfriend got back together with her ex, so she winds up going to school in Scotland, where she winds up rooming with Princess Flora, and hilarity, drama, and possibly some romance ensues. The one thing I love about this book is it always reminds me a little bit, or this series is it always reminds me a little bit of like Gossip Girl, because every like couple of chapters you get like a newspaper article that kind of fleshes out the world, and I really, really love that. So this was a much longer opening than I was planning. But I didn't want to kind of go through all the books that I can potentially tackle this weekend. But yeah, that's kind of my plans. I hope you guys are going to tag along with me, and we'll see how we feel about all these books. And I'll talk to you guys when I read about maybe like 50 more pages for Her Royal Highness and let you guys know my thoughts. Bye, guys. Hi guys, Lori here. Just checking back in. It's 9 o'clock. I actually wound up sitting outside with my parents, and we got like a fire pit recently, so we were sitting around it. And I wound up getting up to page 100 in Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. Still really enjoying this book. I love that it's like a boarding school setting. I went to a college that reminds me a lot of how this school is structured because like it looks really, really old and very, very pretty. But I definitely love the dynamics between her and Flora. I still really like this book. I love the excerpts from the magazines and news articles. We definitely are seeing characters from the first book, but it's been a while since I read it. Like we are seeing, but I definitely remember them existing. Just don't remember a lot of details about them. But I do like the side characters that we're meeting. And I think it's actually a very, very diverse read. And I think background wise, and I also like the development of like her self-discovery about being bi and kind of explaining that to people, because sometimes it's harder in YA novels to do that. I thought that they did it very, very interestingly and fun, and like it wasn't really that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and go play a little bit of Animal Crossing, because I actually didn't play Animal Crossing today. But it's such a fun, engaging read, and I'm just really liking it. I always love books about twins, and Prince Flora is a twin, so we got to see her twin in this book, and I'm really liking it. And yeah, I'm thoroughly liking this book, so I'm gonna go play Animal Crossing for a little bit, and then I'm probably gonna dive back into Her Royal Highness and see how much progress I can make. And I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Guys, Lori here. It's about 10:12, and I did wind up getting up to page about 140 in Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This book is definitely fun. I like that it has a little bit more like it's definitely love to hate. I'll say that, and I do like that. It's very, very quick. I'll say that. But I'm also liking the like the setting. Like we have kind of like a competition element in this that I'm kind of enjoying. And I do like the dynamics between the characters. I think the new group of friends is very, very interesting as well. I kind of miss that like we met these like her past friends in the start of the book and her family, and they have limited presence in the book, which is okay, but her world is just very, very small. But I do like her group of friends. I do like learning more about Flora because she was, when I remember, she was kind of a kick. Like, she was very, very funny in the first book. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's definitely like a fun read. I think I gave the last one 3.5 stars, or this is probably going to be the same. It's a very, very quick read, I will say that. But I'm really liking it. I'm going to go back to reading. There is also like a lot, it's very, very focused on love to hate. But I'm wondering if we're ever going to get to the love part because we're pretty far into this book. So we'll see. Talk to you guys in a bit. Larry here, I'm back. It's supposed to pour today, like rain really, really hard. So I went for like an early bike ride. I'm still hoping to squeeze one in later. But I did wind up listening to about, I would say about a chapter of Chain of Gold, which I'm really liking. One thing about that book is there's a lot of characters and they're all interconnected to everybody. So you kind of need to pay like really close attention to that book. So I can't like listen to that book when I'm like doing anything other than bike riding because I can really focus on what I'm listening to. But starting to really enjoy that book. There's a lot of interconnected characters, which I am liking. I also did get to page 200 in Her Royal Highness. I'm on to page 202. Still really, really liking this book. I'm loving the setting. It reminds me a lot of my college, the setting that I went to. But there also is a lot of royalty elements, and there's a lot of like the side characters I'm really, really liking. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I have to go to a yoga class in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to try to make a little bit more reading progress. And definitely I would hope to finish this book today. I only have 77 pages left. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm done with yoga. Bye, guys. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up finishing Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. I wound up finding this book super fun. I kind of felt the same about book 1 in this series, Prince Charming. I thought it was a super fun read, one that was just a fun, light beach read. I like the setting, I like the characters, I love the LGBTQ references. It was just fun. It wasn't anything that like shocked and wowed me, but I normally love like royalty themed novels. I love the subtle tiebacks to the first book in the series. It was fun. I really liked Millie as a character, and I also really, really liked Flora. I would have liked to see been in like Flora's head a little bit, but other than that, strong read, would give it 3.5 stars, and would highly recommend you check it out. If you're looking for kind of a lighter LGBTQ themed, they did talk about the unpopularity of her being LGBTQ and kind of those dynamics, but I just found it to be a fun read. I like the side characters she wound up meeting at her boarding school. I missed the connection back to her friends and her family. We didn't get to see them a whole lot in this read, but again, thought it was fun and would give it 3.5 stars. I'm gonna actually go do a couple of videos for you guys because it is the end of the month and I want to like kind of wrap stuff up. And then I'm going to choose my next read. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but I do have a bunch of stuff I want to film. So I'm going to go work on that. I don't know how long it's going to take me. But when I'm done with that, I will update you guys. Bye. Here, sorry, that took a lot longer than I thought. I wound up filming a video and then I wound up prepping for a couple of other videos. So tomorrow's going to be another big filming day. But it did rain, so I like felt like I was inside doing stuff. But I did decide that I am going to start Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Everett Talley. I have heard so many mixed things about this book, but I really do hope that I enjoy it. I love Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. I really enjoyed The Upside of Unrequited, I think. And I also really liked her book with Adam Silvera. But I really hope that I do like this book. So I'm going to go start it. And I'll let you guys know my thoughts when I start. Bye, guys. Lori here. It's about 7 o'clock, and I do want to reading about 50 pages of Leah on the Offbeat. It's been a while since I read, like, any Simon-themed things. I think the last time I listened to Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda was right before the movie came out. So I feel, like, a little bit jarred heading into the story. And normally, when you read a contemporary book, when you read the summary, it kind of teases you who the love interest is. That's not the case in this. So basically it's set in their senior year and they're basically like, it's set, with Simon and all her friends. And this this character follows Leah, and Leah was in the first book. She was Simon's best friend, and she's bi. So I know that people really didn't like who she wound up with in this book. And she has a very interesting point of view. Like, it's a little bit more jarring than Simon is. There's also a lot of language in this. I do want to reference that. But I am liking it. I'm curious. So there's also a play in here that is the forefront right now. Like, they're all in a play. They're all in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I normally really enjoy books that have like a plot like that, because I am a theater teacher and I worked as a stage manager. So that's kind of a fun tie back. I'm liking it. I'm curious to see who she winds up with, and if it's acceptable, I guess. If I'll like it. But I'm gonna go take a quick shower and I'm gonna come back and I'll read another 50 pages and I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Bye, guys. Hey, Lori here. I'm back. It is June 28th, which means it's a Sunday. I'm going to read a little bit more before my yoga class, and then I'm gonna go physically to get my nails done, which I'm so excited about. I have to run a couple of errands, and then I'm going to come back, and I think I'm going to try to film a bunch of videos for you guys today. I did go for a bike ride super early this morning, so I figure I can devote the rest of the afternoon to filming and figuring out what I want to do for the summer, scheduling and posting wise. And right now I've been posting 2 times a week, but because I'm home a lot and I have so much backup content, I think I'm going to change my posting schedule to like 3 times a week or 4 times a week, just because I have so many videos I want to give you guys while I'm home, and I'm able to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. I'm just going to kind of figure out what I want to do filming wise and scheduling wise. But yeah, so I'm gonna go keep reading Leah on the Offbeat. I'm still not loving it, I'll be very honest. I'm liking it. I think I would have liked this book a lot more if it was from someone else's point of view and like Leah was like a side character, because Leah's point of view is a little bit hard to be in. Sometimes, I'll say that. Like, I do like the LGBTQ and the bi reference, but I just don't like how the relationship she's choosing to be in and what it's doing to her friend group. So but I'm going to go read, and before I head to my yoga class, I'll probably update you guys and let you guys know how far I am in it, but I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back. It is about 2:13. I definitely took a bit of time off. I went to go get my nails done. I went to town. I finished Leah on the Offbeat. I have so many mixed feelings about this book, to be very honest with you. I went in a little bit hesitant because one of the people I follow and really respect her opinion wasn't a big fan of this book, and I kind of agree with her. And I have some mixed feelings about it because I do feel like bi characters are not representative in literature as much as they should be. I love being back in the Simon verse, but I really, really struggled with the story. I really felt like it was not... I didn't feel like the relationship was the one that I was rooting for, and I didn't feel like it was even, like, a good portrayal, really. Like, I just struggled with it. But I did like that we got to see the characters from the Simon verse again. I liked all the other characters. I thought that some of the situations were actually super interesting that were, like, developing. They had a lot about, like, affirmative action almost in college decisions, which I thought was really interesting because you have an African American character in this. But the romance, I just did not buy into it, and I really struggled with Leah as a character. So, I don't know. I mean, I liked being back in the Simon verse, I will say that, but I really struggled with the storyline. The storyline was probably like a 2-star. So being back in the Simon verse was probably like a 3-star, so maybe like a 2.5 star for review. Definitely wasn't my favorite by far, but that's just my 2 cents. So, I struggled with this one a little bit. But I am going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to go film some stuff because that was what this plan for the weekend was. But yeah, I'm going to go film some stuff, and when I come back, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to read next. I have a couple of options. I have a lot of options, but I want to, like, kind of think about it. So, I'm going to go do that, and when I come back, I'll be ready to read. Bye, guys. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's 6:40. I did wind up doing a bunch of, like, prep stuff. This is also the first Saturday night or Sunday night that I don't have to wake up early for work. It's gonna feel so weird tomorrow morning, I'll be like a little bit honest, but I do have stuff planned that I'm gonna like do because I am very, very scheduled and I like to have things to do every single day. But I just want to say that I did pick my next read. I am gonna read Most Likely by Sarah Watson. This is a book about It's about 4 girls in their senior year of high school, and you kind of follow them. And one of these 4 girls will be the next president of the United States. And it's written by the writer of The Bold Type, which is a show that I love. Actually, I'm gonna go watch the episode when I'm done watching what I am watching. I've heard really, really good things about this, and I've been trying to read a few more political novels. I actually have a few on my TBR for the month of July. But I do want to dive into this one, and I know that it does have an LGBTQ relationship in it. So, I'm really excited about that. I'm going to start reading this, and then I'm going to dive into watching The Bold Type, and I will check in with you guys when I get about 50 pages in. I know Reagan said she really, really enjoyed it, and I always like books that kind of have like a mystery element. So, I'm going to go start this, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I just want to finishing the episode of The Bold Type that I fell a little bit far behind on. Guys, I really, really love that show. I think it's great. And ironically, I'm reading Most Likely by Sarah Watson, who created The Bold Type. But it basically, so the book starts off set in, let me look it up because the date's important, in 2049, where a woman is being elected president. And you don't know who this person is, you just know who she married, and she has been elected president. Then it flashes back to 2019, where you follow 4 girls, and they are in their senior year of high school, and one of these girls will be the president of the United States. They're all very different, they're from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, but they're best friends. And you kind of follow them in their senior year in high school, and right now they're trying to save a park that has some significant value to like their community before it is torn down. But I'm really liking it. You're also in everyone's head, so it's just sometimes a little bit hard to like identify whose head you're in. But it follows Ava, CJ, Jordan, and Martha. And they're all very, very different. And I'm really liking the friendship dynamics in it. And there's one girl that always reminds me of me because I'm like the shyer one. Sometimes. But I'm really, really liking it. I'm liking the diversity in it. I'm liking that it's very, very political minded. I like that it's in senior year in high school. And they're all kind of dealing with their own drama or their own issues. There's one girl that really, really is bad at standardized testing, and her goal is to go to Harvard. There's a journalist. There's one that is super quiet, and then there's another character that is like descendant from Martha Washington. So it's like very, very, very fun, and it's politically connected because they're all shooting to be president, or I guess, well, potentially they're all shooting to be president, but one becomes president. So, I'm going to go watch a little bit of Stargirl and read this in the backdrop, and I'll keep you guys updated. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up stop reading last night. I read a little bit more, but I did watch one episode of Avatar, which was actually super exciting. I'm actually getting up to an episode that everyone talks about. I think it's called The Swamp, which I've heard amazing things about. And then I watched about 2 episodes of The Floor is Lava on Netflix, which when I was younger, I was a huge fan of Legends of the Hidden Temple. Me and my cousin used to love that show, and it's very, very similar to that, but for like adults. I'm really, really liking that. I'm probably going to dive into quite a bit more of those shows today, like kind of as background noise. I also did watch one episode of The Bold Type, I think I talked about, and then one episode of Stargirl. What I'm really liking about Stargirl, and I think I've said this before in like an earlier reading vlog, this show really focuses on a young kid's experience, like a teenage girl in high school, and none of the DC shows do that. All the DC shows focus on like, mid-20s, and they're all kind of in jobs, and this is like the first DC show that really focuses on a young kid, and I'm really loving it. I'm loving the dynamics between the characters. There was a moment in the first 2 episodes that reminded me so much of Buffy the Vampire Slayer back in the day. But yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the next 2 episodes today. So, I did wind up reading a little bit more of Most Likely by Sarah Watson. I got up to page 133. I'm really intrigued by this book. Like, I really like it. I think it's a very different concept. Basically, you follow these 4 girls, and at the end, one of these girls is going to become president of the United States. So, you're kind of following them all in their senior year of high school. They're all very, very different. But I'm really liking it. I'm learning more about them as people. There's also an action to kind of save a local park that they're all kind of participating in. It does remind me of the friendship dynamics on the Bold Type, like, a lot. And there was also a very, very strong political element in that show. So I really like that it's kind of being here. And then you also see the first husband in this book, and he's kind of involved with all the girls. I have my prediction about who I think is going to become president, but I think that, like, any of these girls can become president. And I think that that's just a really, really fun statement to have in a novel. So I also did sign up for Skillshare. I have wanted to do this for like a while. I hear about it on all my blogger friends. They all have codes. So I wound up doing it because I really miss learning and I really miss going to school. It's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I have 3 college degrees and I would go back to get another one if I was allowed or if I had money and time. But I think I'm going to take a couple of classes on Skillshare on the days that I have off. So that's what I'm gonna do for the next hour. I'm gonna read my chapter in Me and White Supremacy, and I'm going to take a Skillshare class about productivity, which is something that I desperately need during the school year. So I think I'm gonna go do that, and then I'll check in when I'm done with that. Sorry for this long clip, but I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here, just checking back in. I did actually wind up reading my chapter on color blindness in Me and White Supremacy, which I find was a super interesting chapter. Really important. That was one that I was a little bit afraid to read because it was a lot. And I think that it's something that I'm really glad that I'm reading. It's definitely opening my eyes to a lot of things I never considered before, which is important. I also did wind up doing part of a couple of lessons in Me and Productivity, one of the lessons I wanted to take. And because the next school year is like so up in the air, I just want to have a potential system to if I'm working at home, because I kind of did what I did like on the fly for the last 3 months and it didn't really work the way I wanted it to. So I'm trying to plan a little bit better for the fall if we are working at home. We still really don't know though, so I'm just trying to like plan a better system. But I am going to go for a bike ride and I'm going to go read in the park. Make some more progress on Most Likely by Sarah Watson, and I'll report back when I come home. Bye guys. Right here, I'm back. I'm back sitting outside. It is not as hot as it has been. It's actually pretty windy, but it's beautiful to sit outside. So I did wind up running to town, and I wound up listening to my Harry Potter podcast, which was the episode where MuggleCast kind of tackled the transphobic comments that J.K. Rowling has been making, and I highly recommend you all check out that episode because they really put everything into like an easy to digestible way, and they had an expert on, and I just thought it was very, very good episode. I'm in the middle of listening to it. But I also did make a bit more progress on Most Likely by Sarah Watson. Guys, this book reminds me, it's going to sound like a very, very weird analogy, but it reminds me a lot of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series in regards you have 4 characters that are really, really different. But the one thing I love about this, and it's the same comment I had when I read the Warcross duology by Mary Lou. The diversity in this book is just so on point, and I love the girls are all different, dealing with different tactics and different elements. Like you have Ava, who's dealing with some anxiety and depression, and she's also adopted and she wants to find her birth mom. And then you have one character who really wants to try to save this park as she's working like the journalist angle. And then you have another girl who also Ava's really into art, and her mom fears that it's not like a valuable career path for her. And you also have another girl who's really, really worried about money because she lives with her single dad. And then you have CJ, who is really struggling with her SATs, and she winds up working for a nonprofit group with kids that have, or are in wheelchairs. And it's just so diverse and so good. There's also some LGBTQ references. There's a lot of fun jobs in here. But it's just so interesting. And like I keep going back and forth between who I think the person is that could become president. But I'm really, really loving it. I'm loving it. I'm getting so invested in all the girls, and their friendships are so great. And I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm going to go keep reading and see how far I can get. And I will report back when I get up to page like 250. That's because I got 200. But guys, I would highly recommend you check out this book if you can. I know it came out in March, but I'm really enjoying it. Please just checking back in. It's about 1:30, and I just wind up getting up to page 250 and Most Likely by Sarah Watson. So really enjoying this book. I think this book is definitely proving to be much more complicated. There's a lot of issues in this book, but it's real life, and I think that it's a book that really tackles a lot of real life issues all the girls are so different. They're all dealing with so many different issues, and I just think it's a nice intersection of them. I don't think the book is too much. I think the issues are just real life, and I'm really liking that. But it is a book that you really do need to pay attention to because there's a lot going on. There's 4 different characters. I sometimes say that, like, I think it would be easier in books like this if there was, like, a heading, like, this is Ava's chapter or this is Martha's part. But I'm really, really liking it. I'm thinking it's very compelling. It's a very, very quick read, and it's really easy to get invested in these characters. I think that this is definitely there's going to be a sequel to this. I'm really curious to see where this book ends and if we do learn who the president is or if we don't learn. But I think I really like Martha. I mean, I like all the girls, but I think I'm more connected to Martha and Ava's point of view. But yeah, really, really enjoying it. I think I'm gonna go for a bike ride because it's actually not hot today. It's like nice. And I'm probably gonna read in the park for a little bit, and then I'll probably come back and probably tackle the end of Most Likely. I still do want to physically work out, which I've been trying to do a workout every single day. So once I'm done with all that stuff, I'll come in and update you guys. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I did wind up going for a bike ride. I wound up getting up to page 300 in Most Likely by Sarah Watson. Still really, really liking this book. I think it's such a well-crafted novel that really focuses on friendship, but also tackles so many topics. This book does focus on a lot of different backgrounds of characters, but I really, really like it. It reminds me of like a bull type, which obvious because the Sarah Watson created the bull type, but also like just like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. But it's like for the 21st century. I love that there's some political undertones, which eventually leads into one of them becoming president of the United States. I'm really, really liking it. It also does deal with anxiety and depression in some characters. There's also an LGBT plot line that I think will probably develop in subsequent books in this series. But I'm really, really liking it. I am gonna go play a little bit of Animal Crossing because I didn't play all weekend. And then I'm probably going to dive in and probably tackle the rest of Most Likely. But I'll talk to you guys when I start reading again. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's 5 o'clock. I'm about to finish Most Likely, about 50 pages left. Still really enjoying it. The book is getting really, really intense. I'll say that. There was also like a little bit of a time jump. We're at the end of the school year. They're about to find out who gets into what college. Brings up all memories of when I was figuring out where I got into college. It's always a very, very exciting, very, very stressful time. But I'm going to go tackle the end of this, and then I'll come in and check in with you guys. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. Sorry if you can hear my air conditioning, but it's really, really hot in my room. So, I do want to say that I did want to finishing The Bull Type by Sarah Watson. I wound up really, really liking this book. I would definitely recommend it. I think that it was a fun take kind of on politics, but in like not like in your face way, but I really did like it. I liked all the girls' point of views. I thought it was really, really well crafted. And I would definitely check out another book because I really grew to like the characters. I thought the ending could have been a little bit clearer, but I really enjoyed the ending. I think it took me a couple of chapters to kind of remember who was who because there are 4 very, very different point of views. But overall, I wound up really, really liking it. The first book I finished during this reading log was Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This is a book that I would give like 3.5 stars to. I wound up liking it. I thought it was such a fun read. I don't read a lot of representation with bi characters, which both of these are, but I wound up really enjoying it. Oh, also, this book does have some LGBTQ references. One of the character comes to that discovery throughout the book, but I wouldn't say all the characters are, so I would still classify this as having an LGBT component. But I wound up liking this. I love the tie back to the Prince Charming book, and I just found it to be fun. It was just like such a fun read, and one that I really like the royals as like a concept, but I loved Millie and I loved seeing Flora again and Sebastian, so I wound up giving this book like 3.5 stars. Then I wound up picking up Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, Volume 1, which is such a quick graphic novel, but I wound up thoroughly liking this. I wound up giving this book like 4.75 stars. It just follows these 2 boys. I think the back says it really, really well. Boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. The end of this volume ended off on like such like a mean point that I really need to get my hands on Volume 2 and 3 because they are currently out. But I wound up giving this book 5 stars, I think. And then I wound up picking up Leah on the Offbeat. I went in like a little bit hesitant for this book. I'll be a little bit honest. I didn't love it. I would only give it 3 stars. I really found the romance to be a little bit problematic at points, and it wasn't a romance I really liked. I also wasn't the biggest fan of Leah as a character, but I did like being back in the Simonverse. So, you know, kind of going off of that, I liked it. I didn't love it. I still really do like the Simonverse, and I love Becky Albertalli in general, but this book just did not wow me. So I'm gonna officially here to wrap up this reading vlog. Let me know what are some LGBTQ books you tackled this month. If I had to pick some favorites, I would say I really liked this book a lot. And I also really did like Red, White, and Royal Blue. And just for like a fun read, I really liked Her Royal Highness. So those were the highlights of my LGBTQ books that I tackled. I still have quite a few on my TBR. But I hope you guys are staying safe and being well. And I'm going to go start another reading vlog for you guys. Bye.